Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Emanuel Navarette becomes a 3-weight belt holder. He stops the vast underdog, the unheralded Liam Wilson, in 9 rounds TKO. But he did not have it all his own way, and there was a real shock on the cards in the 4th round because Navarette was heavily knocked down. It was a barrage of punches. I think a right hand landed bang on the jaw, followed by a left hook, the left hook being Liam Wilson's favourite punch. And over went Navarette, a real shock that was. And he was shaken. It was not a flash knockdown, it was a heavy knockdown. He saw out the 4th round. Between rounds, he looked embarrassed and there was much commotion in the corner. He came out, worked his way back into the fight. I think in the 6th, he was badly shaken again by Wilson. But Navarette has this style where he just marauds forward, lots of holes in his defence, throws big hooks, works the body very well, and this is what he did with Wilson. But yeah, going into the fight, Wilson was a rank underdog, and he had this style, which, I mean, put it this way, Wilson has, his previous defeat was to a guy called Joe Noine, and he got knocked out in 5 rounds. He was on the floor, I think, 4 times during that fight. But he then took that, after that harrowing experience, he took a rematch and knocked Joe Noye flat, I mean, with a left hook. And the left hook is clearly Wilson's favourite punch. He came into the fight with only 11 victories, 7 by KO, and one defeat to Joe Noye. But inexperience did tell here in this fight with Navarette, because when he had Navarette hurt, he couldn't capitalise. I mean, you got to give Navarette a lot of credit for surviving, but Wilson, you felt that, victory was there for the taking. He did try to land the hook, but he slipped afterwards into this idea, into this rhythm, this mental rhythm of trying to land another big punch instead of going back to his boxing. In the opening rounds, his style is he stands bolt upright, way too square on, way too right on the line. And you're thinking this is an accident waiting to happen. But in the first 3 rounds, he was moving a lot, and he was moving intelligently, and he was letting Navarette, with his marauding style, come forward and then picking him off. Very, very good tactics. Despite Wilson's alarming sort of upright stance, he was able to avoid a lot of punishment. Navarette, after being stung, after being hurt badly in the 4th round, I mean, he managed to edge his way back in. He did have a pretty good 5th and 6th round, but did get caught again by Wilson. And Wilson, again, I repeat, Wilson was, after that knockdown, was looking for the one big wallop instead of going back to being elusive, letting Navarette come forward and then picking him off. That didn't happen after the 4th round knockdown. And gradually Navarette got back into his rhythm and was finding Wilson. Wilson was fighting Navarette's fight. Even he was fighting. He wasn't boxing anymore. He stopped boxing and then began fighting. That suited Navarette down to the ground, and Navarette gradually was chopping down Wilson. It did look like chopping down a tree because Wilson stands so upright in his stance. His defence isn't too bad, but when you bolt upright, you're gonna leave yourself open at some point. And gradually he was being eroded. And Navarette finally in the 9th round managed to score a knockdown with, I think it was a big right hand that landed slap bang on the jaw. Wilson was hurt, went down, knew where he was, got up, and then Navarette just tore after him and beat him up. And the referee eventually stepped in when Wilson, you were screaming at the TV, tie him up, come on. No, he just didn't seem to know how to do it, and the inexperience did tell. This was only Wilson's 13th fight, and he'd never been out of Australia. He spent, apparently, according to the report, he spent about 19 hours travelling all the way from Australia to America. He had to go to Britain because he had visa issues, went back to America. But he came to fight. He came to win. He even brought his family over. His missus and his kids were there in the audience. So Wilson, very, very confident, and with much to be confident about. It's just that, he didn't have the experience. He didn't tie the guy up. Navarette coming forward. Wilson, you think, would step in, smother Navarette's work and tie him up until he's recovered. But there was no hint of that. He didn't seem to know how to do it. But Navarette becomes a 3-weight champion. He beat Isaac Dogbay twice. Was, you know, WBO super bantamweight champ. Went up to featherweight. I think he won the vacant title against Ruben Villa. Defended it. This was for the vacant WBO World Super Feather title. And yeah, you know, I mean, Navarrette's a good, exciting fighter, but there's so many holes in his defence, and I think he took Liam Wilson a little bit too lightly. Wilson, on the other hand, I mean, Navarrette's 28, so he's in his prime. Wilson himself is 26. He's got plenty of time to continue with his career. I was impressed with Wilson's fortitude. His good power, especially in the left hook. Australian boxing is doing really, really well. I mean, you know, when you consider both with the men and the women, you know, in the men's game, Kambosos is still around. Fights nothing but the best. I've got a lot of respect for Kambosos. And, you know, the women in Australia are doing well. Bridges, Ebony Bridges, Sky Nicholson, of course, is a big star in weighting, current Commonwealth champ. These are Australian boxing. They've got some good fighters, you know. J.R. Patai. Is J.R. Patai from New Zealand? I think he is, isn't he? But they've got some good fighters, some very, very good fighters. And Wilson can carry on his career. He can come back. But this was an exciting fight. Go see it if you can. Emanuel Navarette, now a 3-weight world champ. Liam Wilson giving him hell, giving him a big test. Go watch it. What did you think of it if you did see it? Leave your comments below. I'd like to know them. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the subscribe button. We'll build the channel up, and hit the like button as well if you like the video. But let me know your thoughts. Thank you for your time as always, and we will speak again soon. Bye-bye for now.